In the present episode, a 80-year elderly person watching out for her nursery by the lake slips into the gator-plagued water. Promptly after hearing her sprinkling in the water, two crocs hurry to the scene searching for a simple dinner hit that like button and buy-in right now. This is their startling crocodile assault on Rosemary cart. Welcome to definite hardship. Cultivating is normally a gamble-free leisure activity, one which can be delighted in retirement, yet when it's performed on a lakeside in Florida, it unexpectedly turns into an unsafe business, as certain individuals found out when they saw their kid neighbors slip into the crocodile-pervaded water directly before their eyes at the Boca Royale Golf and Nation Club in South Sarasota region, Florida. Lethal hunters snuck in the on-location lakes and lakes covering an area of 1,000 sections of land. The Nation Club incorporates a green nature saves and is home to in excess of 1,000 families residing there. Likewise implied imparting your lawn to a portion of America's most dangerous hunters. Gators. Rosemary Wagon had gone through her whole time on Earth serving others. She worked in the nursing field in clinics and clinical workplaces prior to settling down in Florida to resign, much to her dismay that it would end up being her untimely resting place. Gators are known to possess each collection of new water in Florida. Strolling other than lakes or lakes in the state is viewed as hazardous. There are signs along most streams. Advance notice individuals to avoid the edge. Consistently, canines that jump into the water are accepted by the reptiles, as they appear to be like their mammalian prey, like muskrats, raccoons, and little deer. However, periodically, they consider people as prey and pursue an open door. When it presents itself on Friday, July 15, 2022, 80-year-old Rosemary was accomplishing something not regularly viewed as perilous, planting her property disregarded one of the lakes at the Nation Club. Occupants, new crocs, lived in the lake. Some of the time they would emerge onto dry land and loll in the sun. Different times, individuals could detect their honorably bodies projecting through the water's surface. Like drifting logs, they moved from lake top lake, in some cases going across the street to do so. However, they had never led to any issues before individuals realized they were there, and they realized they should regard them and stay away from them. Rosemary and her significant other, Edward, had consistently kept up with their nursery. Flawlessly cultivating was one of Rosemary's numerous leisure activities, close by perusing swimming, baking, and even yoga, which he rehearsed at the Englewood YMCA. The couple had lived there in Boca Royale for quite a long time and were known to nearby occupants. They were cordial and affable, inviting new faces to the gated local area. When Edward died 2 years before Rosemary proceeded with the difficult work in the nursery, something that would before long demonstrate deadly for her. On the night of July 15th, she was hauling removes of the lush bank in her nursery. Her back was gone to the water. It was around 7:45 p.m. The air was warm, yet the sounds from the neighbors floated over the water. The thunder of a vehicle moving by in the tranquil area, individuals taking care of their lawn. It was a normal night. 2 gators drifted in the lake, close to it. Rosemary's property. Local people had watched them develop throughout the long term. One neighbor had moved in when the crocs were only 4 ft long. However, presently they were impressively bigger than that and represented a genuine danger to anybody entering the water. Occupants knew to keep their canines on a rope that night. The 2 inhabitant gators were to a great extent concealed by the surges and peruses covering the bank, yet their faculties were consistently ready. They were crafty trackers, generally on the quest for a simple dinner, generally prepared to respond when Rose pulled on an especially difficult weed in the bank of her grass. It unexpectedly gave way. She staggered in reverse, lost her balance, and she was sent flying into the water. She arrived with a boisterous sprinkle streak. Shaken and shocked, she mixed to work herself and move out of the lake. She bungled in the water, kicking, sprinkling irately. However, she didn't understand that she was simply minutes from death. and she didn't have the foggiest idea about what was behind her. A few neighbors who had seen Rosemary fall into the water believed that she had been strolling in her garden when she had unexpectedly fallen. They thought that she might have encountered some sort of clinical episode, which made her break down and fall into the lake one way or the other. The uproarious sprinkle made neighbors aware of the peril she was in. Yet they weren't the only ones to see the 80-year-old lying weak in the water. All the upheaval had made the two crocodiles aware of her battle impulse kicked in, and they swam deliberately towards her. A prey creature in trouble was the least demanding of targets, and they homed in. Their eyes were sharp, their development smooth as they coasted along the outer layer of the lake, impelled by their strong tails from the opposite side of the water. Occupants recognized the obvious layouts of the two huge crocodiles swimming towards the lady, a little bow wave before their adjusted noses, their dull bodies shadows underneath the water's surface. They hollered at Rosemary to hustle and escape the lake. However, before she could get away from the water, Rose was first and foremost attempting to keep herself above water. The shock of the virus water had blown her mind, and she appeared to be experiencing difficulty keeping her head above water. Then she kicked for the side and connected with her hands, yet before she could make it, the crocodiles grasped her. She let out a cry as she was pulled in reverse away from the well-being of dry land. The gator's teeth tore through her skin and their jaws cinched down around her legs, the two reptiles going after all the while. The older woman didn't have a potential for success as she was pulled under the water. Shocked spectators quickly raced to the lakeside and for the Crisis Administration's 911. What's the area crisis? Simply, okay, all right, sir. What is your location? I was playing the debilitated opening, and this woman was across the water blue, like she was managing the edge, and she fell in. She was shouting. I attempted to get to her and she went under. I just couldn't find her. I'm strolling around there currently, okay. I can see gat drifting in the water. So dislike I'm not going in. There's a drifting thing around here. Now good gracious, is that her? She attempted to retaliate. She attempted to pull herself free. Yet the gigantic reptiles, one estimating 80 f10 in lengthy and different 7-7 in, were excessively strong with a chomp power of in excess of 2,000 psi. The crocs weren't giving up. They corrected their grasp and turned lines again and again. The power from the assault disjoined Rosa's neck and wounded her spinal segment. She was gone inside merely seconds. There was nothing anybody might have done, and despite the fact that her last minutes will work out in the personalities of the people who witnessed them, as a general rule, the entire thing occurred in under brief. It was so speedy. The crude force of the gator's assault was merciless and destructive. Hearing the upheaval, different neighbors hurried to the scene. They found Rose face down in the water. The Crisis Administration showed up at 8:15 p.m. Also, she was pulled from the lake. Unfortunately, she was articulated dead. At the scene, it was a fantastic shock for the local area. And as far as who might be aware, Rosemary, she had kicked the bucket in the most over-the-top terrible manner possible, only feet from her own home her family had proactively experienced. So much, having lost Edward only 2 years sooner, and presently, they needed to express farewell to Rosemary too. The affectionate local area was shaken to have such a horrible assault happened only yards from their own homes, truly brought back exactly the way in which perilous the water can be. A what specialist nearby catcher was brought in and gotten the two crocs. They were moved somewhere else. Different gators in the gated people group were likewise eliminated to console occupants that those dependable were at this point not nearby. However, soon, yet again, before the lakes are involved by gators, one as they thrive in Florida's heat and humidity, eliminating one just accounts for one more to consume the space each year. There are around 6 or 7 unmerited crocodile assaults in the territory of Florida, somewhere in the range of 1,948 and 2021. There were 26 fatalities, Despite the fact that there is an undeniable danger from gators in Florida, the possibilities being nibbled by one is thin as per the Florida Fish and Untamed Life Protection Mission, which deals with the state's fish and untamed life assets. Odds are simply 3.1 million to 1.